Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Booth Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. You know, I was actually sitting here doing my morning video and uploading it, and came across a couple of things. I don't work for ESPN or Fox Sports and things. I have a lot of people, of course, that say you don't have any credibility, and that's fine. That's fine. I am just Joe the fan who has built his studio, basically hung my shingle up and said, here's Joe Booth Sports, and I give you my opinion on what I see. Now, it's still really, really early in the season to make a lot of assumptions, but you can start to see trends. I always say you really don't know what teams are till really about October, because some teams that just jackrabbit start and have great starts and things. Other teams will use the first couple of games to be kind of like preseason and don't hit their stride till later. So it's still a little bit early to tell. Washington and the Giants are, of course, further along than anybody else right now in watching the Washington football team. And one of the things that has been said, and I've been talking about him quite a bit, is Mike Greenberg has been going on this tirade about the Dallas Cowboys. They're always the great team in July. But he said this about the Washington football team. This was his assumption, and he has been playing this so much this offseason. And I bring this to you because so many times people will hear narratives from the talking heads and will take it as fact.
So much attention all year round that it is hard to imagine it could ever have a secret as well kept as the Washington football team is headed into this year. Caesars has them at 25-1 to win the NFC. Even Vegas doesn't see this as coming, and it is. The formula is there, and it's proven. Recently, they are the 49ers of 2 years ago. Start with the quarterback, who has been far more magic than tragic of late. These are the numbers. The last 3 seasons, Ryan Fitzpatrick has a higher completion percentage than Tom Brady. He has a higher touchdown percentage than Dak Prescott. He has a higher QBR than Deshaun Watson. He's been very good, and his new team is sneaky loaded. It won an admittedly bad division last year with the worst quarterback play in the sport. They were 32nd out of 32 teams. The top receiver is a stud. You barely know him. His name is 25-year-old Terry McLaurin. He has more than 2,000 yards in 2 seasons, playing with Dwayne Haskins, Case Keenum, Alex Smith, Kyle Allen, and Colt McCoy. The running back is 23-year-old Antonio Gibson. He had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage and 11 touchdowns, starting just 10 games as a rookie. And the defense? It may very well be the best in the entire sport. They had the best pass rush in the league the second half of last season. They sacked Tom Brady 3 times in a playoff game. He was only sacked 3 more times total in the 3 playoff games that followed. And then finally, the coach, he's a winner. Ron Rivera won the division last year while battling cancer and made the playoffs 4 times in 5 years in Carolina. So again, the formula: good enough quarterback play, dominant defensive line, coach who knows how to win. That was San Francisco 2 seasons ago, and that team wound up in the Super Bowl. So if this one does that at the end of this year, just remember, you absolutely should have seen it coming.
I don't see it coming. And if there's anybody out there that has been more overrated than that Washington football team's defense, is the Washington defense. I don't know who's been more overrated. Thus far, Chase Young looks like Chase Old. He is a total combined 6 tackles. That's assist and solo tackles. No quarterback hits other than a penalty. That one was a penalty, 15 yards. And no sacks. And you gave up 29 points to the New York Giants that could have been 40. Daniel Jones didn't even have a turnover, which is something he's done in literally every game in his career. To give you a perspective of how bad that is, the Giants never scored 29 points, period, last year. Now, hats off to Washington for winning the game. But I don't know that Washington's defense is to be feared the way that everybody has been setting it up. And this isn't something new that I've been saying. This is something I have been saying for quite a while now. In fact, around the same time that Mike Greenberg was saying that. It's improved. The Rams, playoff team. You could say, oh, they won that division. Yeah, they're a really good team. But nobody was going anywhere from the NFC East. I want to play a clip from Rich Eisen, and he's with Louis Riddick. Riddick is definitely one of the Washington football team fans.
Ron Rivera said today that Ryan Fitzpatrick, who knows, he could be the starter here for a bit.
Half a game?
He used the words for a while. He could be the guy here for a while. Do you think we have an opportunity with the way that team is molded on defense and the weapons that they do have, that he could actually have a late career renaissance we're seeing elsewhere in sports? He mentioned obviously Brady, and Rivera mentioned Brady and Phil, and obviously Rich Gannon could be another one, right?
Sure.
From back in the day with Gruden.
I think it's with Ryan. It's never about can he give you certain snapshots of greatness, and he's done that. It's the consistency, and look, consistency of performance, as you know, is the difference between being a starter and a backup. The difference between being a starter and a superstar, a Hall of Famer. It's can you maintain that level of performance over and over and over, year after year after year. Ryan can do it for 5-6 games, which really is the quintessential definition of a backup if you were to read an NFL scouting manual. A guy who can fill in for 4 or 5 games, holds down the fort until the regular starter comes back.
Yep.
And he'll probably win you 3 or 4 games, 3 of those 4 games, keep you above 500 in the time that he needs to play. So for Ron to say, hey, look, he could be our starter for a while, well, he hasn't proven he can do that at any of the stops he's been at in his career. That being said, East, easily to me. And people go, you're crazy. It's got to be Dak. Look, it's Dak and it's Zeke and it's the weapons, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, 1 through 52, I don't have any issues with the Redskins roster. The issue, if you want to call it an issue, is can Ryan sustain performance well enough to where they're a 10-win, 11-win football team? Because if they can get that out of him, where he doesn't cost them games, at the very least he doesn't cost them games, Washington is a problem. Because they are built to win early, middle, late season, and be able to win in the postseason because of how they're strong up front, they're strong down the middle. They've added weaponry on the outside that now can beat you with big plays and or a ball control type of offense. And you know their front four up on defense will come and hunt your quarterback down if they have a lead. And they're building up the secondary to where it looks much better as well now, especially with the addition of William Jackson in free agency.
Hey, you watched all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's
Louis
my
Riddick,
analysis.
You had me there until they said Ryan Fitzpatrick like Tom Brady. You had me there for a minute because here's what's interesting with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and you even said it right there in there, that Ryan Fitzpatrick is like a career backup. 4 or 5 games, he'll do good for you. Well,
Half a game this year.
In some regards, for the Cowboys, we don't play them until late in the season, which is usually when Ryan Fitzpatrick has already done his disappearing act. We'll also find out some things about the Washington football team's defense because this year they won't be playing just the dreads of the NFL. They're going to be playing Tampa Bay. They're going to be playing Kansas City. They're going to be playing the Buffaloes. They're going to be playing the Green Bays and the Seattles. They have a really tough road to hoe, and it will be interesting to see if that defense is truly as great as they have it, because this is shades of me, and I hate to put this out there with the Eagles, but this is shades to me of what we got the year before about the Philadelphia Eagles. The year before, when the Philadelphia Eagles ended up, having a strong stretch down against, of course, the Dallas Cowboys, the Giants, Washington, and things, and they finished up strong because our division was terrible. Dak had a hurt shoulder. The Giants were who we thought they were. They stunk. Washington, of course, was a bad team. They were 23rd or 24th last year in defense. They improved all the way to 4th. They looked at the Eagles and said, the Eagles, their best-built team, they're going to repeat. Carson Wentz looks great going down the stretch. He finally got it together. And then they proceeded to literally fall on their face. Now I go back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick, who, this is what's amazing to me. We keep hearing guys talking about, well, if Ryan Fitzpatrick can put it together, he's a quality quarterback and this, that, and the other. He is 67 and 97 in games. Now, I agree that it's beyond just the quarterback. It's the team around you. I say that. Most people will look at it and say, Dak sucks, even though Dak has got like the third most wins, I believe, since he's been in the NFL since 2016 in that many games. They'll say Dak sucks, that Dak is, it's all about the team around him. It's everybody else. It's just he is just a bus driver, whatever they say. Or even when the Cowboys were scoring a lot of points, we kept hearing last year that it was garbage time because the Cowboys were getting blown out. That's the only reason why. Teams were playing prevent defense, even though games were in doubt in the last couple of minutes against, Seattle, the Rams, the Browns. You were all within one score. I really don't think that those teams were actually playing prevent defenses. If they were stupid because the game was in doubt. But regardless of that, if your premise is a team that gets beat a lot, and the Cowboys were getting beat last year and were behind and were scoring a lot of points, it was because it was garbage time. Dak is only a garbage time quarterback. Then if
Who is this guy?
Ryan
He's pretty smart.
Fitzpatrick, a 67 and 97 career record, how come Ryan Fitzpatrick has never thrown for a 4,000-yard season then? Clearly, they were being blown out of a lot of those games that they needed to pass to try and get back into them. Wouldn't some of those games be garbage time? Wouldn't some of those yards that Ryan Fitzpatrick has made be garbage time yards?
Interesting.
Interesting. I had another stat in there, and I can't. Oh, here it is. Here it is, right here. Here's the thing that
He's done his homework.
that's also kind of interesting is I went through every year from 2005 to 2020 of
He's done
Ryan
his research.
Fitzpatrick from week 10 to the end of the year. I think Cowboys we play week 12 and week 16. Or is it 15? We're both of our games are late in the season.
Actually, I think I can probably.
Ryan
fast forward
Fitzpatrick
this.
gets most of his victories before.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is no longer part of the.
Pretty bad. 5 and 9. And I don't know that he's going to have any new tricks. Now, I'm not saying that Washington doesn't.
I
and
thought
one
actually I
against the
talked
Cincinnati
about
Bengals?
the defense. Oh, here we go.
Against Josh Rosen, I think
Okay.
that the view of them is
The
skewed
defense.
because of how inept our division was.
There you go. Here we go.
When your victories are 2 against the Dallas Cowboys, 2 against the Philadelphia Eagles, 1 against Josh Rosen for the 49ers, 1 against Pittsburgh, and 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals, and you lost twice to the New York Giants, I don't see. I don't see it. Please, somebody explain it to me because I just don't see where we look at this and say, "Oh yeah, that defense was a juggernaut." You're playing Josh Rosen with the 49ers.
He's got a
You're
point.
playing Ben DiNucci.
He got a point.
Ben DiNucci. Andy
Sidearm
Dalton.
Sally.
These were the dreads of the NFL that we stacked up. Can we say defensive garbage time?
Oh,
Maybe that's the term we should use. That the Washington football team stacked up stats in defensive garbage time. In fact, I think I'm going to put that in the title. Because I don't believe that Washington is as great or will be as great as everybody thinks. And the last thing I'm going to put in here, because, it's getting getting kind of late. I'm kind of hungry. I want to go get me something to eat.
Time to
and
feed the
everything.
bear.
And I'm sure that you're out enjoying the day, having yourself a nice drink and stuff, and don't really want to worry about football. But remember, the NFC East is a strange beast that nobody has repeated since the 2003 and 2004 season. And on average, the division winner drops by 3.5 games the following season.
Ooh.
And that goes with 3 teams that won the Super Bowl. That, my friends, is what the Washington football team is fighting. Ryan Fitzpatrick being Fitzmagic that disappears, and the no repeat in the NFC East.
Damn.
But hey, I'm a Dallas Cowboy homer. I'm Joe the fan. What do I know?
Wow. That boy is good. That boy is good. I mean, now, it's still early. It's only 2 games in. There's plenty of time for this stuff to turn around. But thus far, this defensive juggernaut, this view of the Washington defense that you can't do. Tampa Bay's defensive front was like that. You know, when they literally, gave up, 50 yards running total, 33 for Zeke, 13 for Dak, and a couple more for Tony Pollard. You could say that front 7 was a juggernaut. But that front that gave up 95 yards to Daniel Jones, and he could have had 2 rushing TDs, I don't think that they are as good as everybody thought. But then again, they can turn it around. They can certainly turn it around. And with that being said, I'm going to go take care of some stuff, so we're going to be ready for game day tomorrow. I'm Mark Holmes, and you know how we roll.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
Washington fans, bring it.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
I'll see you later.